Good afternoon. It's October the 3rd. It's a beautiful fall afternoon. It's about 9 degrees, which is kind of cool, but lovely for walking. Um, I don't usually walk this time of day where I'm going to walk today, but it's the way it worked out. We'll take a turn along the creek and enjoy the sunshine and the screams of the children. It's recess time at Davin School, just over the other side of the houses to my right. I have been editing up the storm all day, so glad to get out and away from my computer. Also had some layout work to do. Nothing much else to say. Tons and tons of stuff to do for the publishing. That's what I spend most of my time on these days. And the occasional rehearsal. Last night was rehearsal for Lyric Singer's upcoming concert called The King, the Prince, and Queen. King, Prince, the King, Prince, and Queen, or the King, Queen, and Prince. I don't know what order it's in. So, exactly as it says, it's the music of. I'm having a hard time holding this pointing straight forward for some reason. It's the music of Elvis Presley, the King, Queen, of course, Freddie Mercury et al., and Prince, or the artist formerly known as Prince at one point in his career. My little solo, not much of a solo this time, but I'm doing one of the lines in Party Like It's 1999. Hello? Someone? Ishak? Hello? Actually quite warm in the sun. Cool in the shade, but very pleasant in the sun. Not quite decided what path I'll follow here, but we'll start by getting to the creek. Always a good start. Got a book launch on Saturday, which is in this direction because it's at Lakeview United Church, which I've walked by many times on the other side of the creek, although I won't today. It's for a picture book called The Wind in Amanda's Cello by Arthur. I was thinking of Arthur Ransom. Alison Lohans, who's an award-winning Regina author. The artwork is by Sarah Shortliff, who's from Nova Scotia. It's a lovely little book. I'm sure we'll sell lots of copies. Good. It's mainly I lose money at publishing. As most publishers do, as far as I can tell. It's really nice out here. Glad I came out. I thought about walking first thing this morning, maybe going around the lake at dawn, but it was only 2 degrees and I wasn't quite ready to face that yet, I guess. I actually have 2 leather jackets I should take in for repairs so I could wear them. We're getting into when they'll be the appropriate weight. That new house they're building here. I don't know what it's going to look like when it's put together. It looks like a boat is what it looks like. Very long and narrow. Maybe not what they're going for. That's what it looks like. Here's our creek. I guess the entrance is actually there. And it's got that weird niche in it there. Needs to be another entrance, so I don't know what the heck that finally is going to look like. But we'll probably be coming by it as it continues to grow, so we'll keep an eye on it. I still don't know if it's actually frosted or not. It came off the coast last night. I've seen a lot of flowers to judge it by. There's some things, gourds, hanging down there in that garden. I'd say there's not a cloud in the sky, but I can see a few way off in the west. It was quite cloudy earlier. If I'd gone out earlier, I would have said a gray walk along the creek. I hear this bright sunshine again. Kind of what happened yesterday when I titled the walk a gray walk downtown and then promptly became sunny for the entire walk. Okay, we'll go over the bridge, as we usually do. Except on those occasions when I walk down this way. I'll go this way today. So take our usual two-way look. We are looking east. And up here we'll take a look to the west. And then we'll carry on. There's our first dog on the other side of the creek. Probably won't be the last one. Jolly. There's our dogs, first two dogs of the day. Still not a lot of color in the trees. I think it's because we haven't had a proper frost yet. We're right about the average first frost time. It's sort of the end of September. So, of course, an average means that some years it's later, which this appears to be one of those years, and some years it's earlier. I've seen frost warnings in late August, but this year, usually an early frost would be early September if you're going to have an early one. It's not impossible to have one in August. The waterfall's still going. That was the last time I walked over here. I don't know if it is now or not. Oh, it is. Well, let's go down and look at the waterfall again then, since it's running. Can't imagine it'll be running too much longer. I think I'll go up the other side this time and go that way. So there's a nice look at the waterfall as we go by. From, well, not 360, but a 180-degree view of it anyway. Now we'll go up here. And walk this way. Which is not the way I usually come, so this is a bit different. Yes, it's a very nice day. The grass should be dry, so let's go through the grass here at the playground. I don't see any kids on it. And of course, we get to the ball diamonds over here. Oh, it's been there a while. You can tell by the faded colors. It was much brighter when it was first put up. This play structure installed for the enjoyment of children of all ages, made possible through the generous contribution of the Kiwanis Club of Regina, dedicated on 15th May 2004. So yeah, it's been there about 20 years. The dog. I'll walk by the ballparks here a little bit. I decided I may do a somewhat different path today. So I've already started doing something somewhat different. Normally I'd be over there somewhere walking on that side of them as I walk along the creek, but come over here, maybe I'll go down that way if I can get across the street safely. And come back along the creek in a somewhat different pattern than I usually follow. Tell the days are getting shorter. Here it is not quite 3 o'clock and the shadows are lengthening. Oh, there goes a rabbit. Not too concerned about me. I don't think I could catch him, so he doesn't have much to worry about. Now, if I can safely cross here, I might do it. Instead of going all the way up to the crosswalk. But I do want to be sure I can do it safely. You need to know, cars coming. There actually should be a crosswalk somewhere along here, but there isn't. Still, if I go down here, maybe I can sneak across. And it's safe. Safe in that direction. Thanks to somebody using the crosswalk down there. Safe in this direction too. There wasn't anybody coming anyway. Sorry, I'll know who you are in a minute. Black cat, hello. We'll go this way. Take us in behind Sheldon Williams Collegiate. I don't want to walk in front of the school because the school will be letting out soon. I like this kind of flat style of house. Prairie style, whatever you call it. Probably 50s. Probably influenced by Frank Lloyd Wright if you go back far enough. That's Sheldon Williams Collegiate up there, across the playground, or playing field. I don't know if you get to high school if they want you to call it a playground anymore or not. Now, how does the road work here? Is there an alley, or do I need to go this way? I guess I still need to go this way. Jog this way. That's a new house, big one. New-ish, anyway. Oh, there's a crow. See, some flowers are hanging in there, so I don't think we've had a real hard killing frost yet. Yeah, they're not really much color yet. Less than I would expect this time of year. As I was saying earlier, I think it's because we haven't had a real frost. So they're changing because of the diminishing length of the day, but they haven't gotten that extra kick that a frost gives them. We were married 27 years ago. It was much yellower. And our anniversary was just last week on the 27th, so. All right, we'll take the alley here. Oh, Volvo of a kind we had, but it got totaled just last year, fortunately. We bought a different Volvo. I missed that one. Well, we've had two like that. Both of them got totaled. Because they're old, right? They were $50,000 cars, brand new. The time we got the last one we had, we got it for $7,000. So it had fairly severe damage. Probably could have been fixed, but hard to be sure. And they just automatically wrote it off without even considering it. We could have kept it and fixed it, and maybe it would have been cheaper than buying a new one. I don't know. Or was a new one, a new used one, but we ended up with an SUV, another Volvo SUV, which has its own benefits. Oh, it's a Star Air Ambulance helicopter. Thank you. 27 years on the 27th. That won't happen again. In 2027, I guess we'll have 27 years on. We won't have 27 years. It'll be 30 years. 30 years on the 27th of 2027. It's the next time we have any sort of matchup, and that'll be the last time. Outdoor basketball court. City owned. Again, Sheldon Williams Collegiate. If we hadn't sent our daughter to Luther College High School, private school, she would have gone here. As it was, the only thing she did here was band. I used to bring her here for band. The Swamp, Sheldon Williams Area Music Program. the swamp. I don't want to walk down another alley, so we'll take the curve here to the right. Well, sorry to hear that. Don't see any signs of that in our marriage, so. Okay. Eventually I'll make it back to the creek. That's where the turnaround point will be. They have a weird looking chimney over there. These are some apartments for rent. Very handy to the school if you happen to be a high school kid. That one's a little more interesting than some of these older apartments. A little more architectural interest with the pillars on the front. We will turn left up here, which will take us on toward Pasqua Street. This is the goal. Again, not a very interesting alley, so I think I'll stick to the main road. Coronation Street. Now this is a Hindu. I don't know if it's a school. Exactly. I've looked at the sign and it always goes out of my head as to what it is. But it was probably a public school at some point, but not for a long time. There's signs on the other end of the building, so I'm never sure what it is when I walk by it, even though I've looked more than once. It goes in and out of my head. All my brain power is going to walking, I guess. Hear the traffic on the Louvain, which is on the other side of Pasqua. So, do I go right? Do I go left? I guess we'll go. First, we'll cross the street, and we'll decide. Oof. Yeah, well, there's the creek is down there. Guess I'll go this way, so it's not quite as far out of my way to get back to the creek. Oh, thank you so much, Cat. I appreciate that. I forget that that's a possibility, so it's always amazes me when somebody actually gives me a little money, $20 in this case. Thanks so much. I mean, this is ad supported. I make about $10 a month, so I keep thinking I should see if realtors would be interested in paying me to do walks in the neighborhoods where they have houses, $100. I'll do an hour-long walk all around the neighborhood. I'd even do it for 50. Anyway, thanks so much for that. Okay, we're going this way now, which will take us to Edward Street, I do believe, which I always like to walk on because that is my name. Hi, Bailey. Yep, it is very, very pretty. From Morocco, Yasmin, hi. It's got to be the middle of the night over there. Here, the sun is setting by 6-ish, maybe even a little before. Maybe right around. Roughly, I mean, the equinox is roughly when it's 6 o'clock, but we're not exactly right in the middle of the time zone. So. Now, this is an actual crosswalk, which is always good. There's nobody coming, which is even better. Cross Pasqua Street. And 18th Avenue. I think this is Edward Street up here. My street. He named it after me. You know, and various King Edwards over the years. And the Prince Edward, for that matter. Could be. A lot of royal Edwards. I, alas, am not one of them. Also, although English originally, the family, Willett, there's also French and German and everything else in my background, but the name itself is English. Probably Norman before that, since there's a French version of it, Willett. But anyway, the Willets came over here in the 1600s, so they were on the kick the British out side of things. So any chance I had of being royal, went out with that. There's the creek up there. That's where we're headed next. Very blue house. One of the kind of flat ones that I find interesting. This one's clearly being worked on. Let's see, some leaves have come off the trees or in the gutters. Won't be long now. It's entirely possible that we could be under snow a month from now. I don't know what long-range forecast looks like, and it's probably not to be trusted anyway, but I always kind of judge it by Remembrance Day, November 11th. It's kind of a 50-50 chance of being under snow or not under snow. Just depends on the year. There you can see Mosaic Stadium. That's the white bump on the horizon. Home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders of the Canadian Football League. Currently in second place in the West after a bit of a losing streak. They've won their last 2 games, and nobody in the West has a winning record at the moment. There's a weir down here. Doesn't have much water going over it at the moment, though, just trickling. Sometimes it pours over there, especially in the spring when the snow melt is happening. But not right now. That's the Louvain Expressway. That's the faster north-south route. There's remnants of older roads here. There may have been a bridge where the weir is at one point, I don't know. Because there's kind of what looks like it could have been an old road that runs up to it that I'm now crossing. Maybe before they built the Louvain Expressway, that's where the old bridge was. I really don't know. For my time. Yes, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I was just talking about from Canadian Football League. And the stadium, which is now behind the trees again over there, Mosaic Stadium, seats about 35,000 when it's full. Maybe a bit more. Can't remember now. It's fairly new. Seems new. Maybe 10 years now. It still seems new. Much nicer than the old Taylor Field, although Taylor Field had so much history behind it. In the biggest day ever, Rough Rider history, when the Rough Riders won the Grey Cup National Championship, playing at home in Taylor Field. Actually, I think I want to go. I think I'll go down this side of the creek. So once the cars are by, I'll go that way. So it'll give us a nice walk by the creek as well, without following the old boring path. So here's the Pasqua Street Bridge. Yeah, well, kind of. They block off. Elphinstone, which we'll be crossing up here in a bit, which goes straight up to the stadium. So, because there's a lot of foot traffic. There's quite a bit of parking, but you have to pay for it. So most people either take what's called Rider Express, which is a bus service from various places in the city, or they'll walk if they're close enough. We can walk in about half an hour if the weather's good. There's the bridge and the creek. But yeah, the traffic gets a little heavy, but just around the stadium, maybe on Albert Street. Really not that bad. I always like to walk along here once in a while because it's a different view of the creek. Get some nice views through the trees. Last two games, I guess we walked to. We'll probably do it again. There's two left. The next one is next Saturday, 5 o'clock kickoff, I think. Of course, it'll be chilly now, these last two games, as the sun goes down. And there could be a playoff game. We're currently in second place in the West. Not impossible we could still finish first, I don't think. But if we even hold on to second, we get a home playoff game. So first or second, you get home playoff games. Otherwise, you'd have to travel. And we would not have a postseason game here this year. We've had season tickets. Well, my wife's family has had season tickets for 60 years. Going back to the mid-60s, I think, is when they first got them. And my wife's grandfather, Samson J. Goodfellow, whose First World War memoirs I published in 2018, One Lucky Devil, actually played, I think, a little bit with the precursor to the Rough Riders, which was a rugby team before it turned into North American football. They could even have tried out for the Argonauts in Toronto, but the war happened and things like that. So he was here in like 1912 time frame. Then he moved back here after the First World War. But he was born in Edinburgh and grew up in Toronto. His elementary school was located where Eaton Centre is now in Toronto. Go Rough Riders indeed. Night, Black Cad. You're probably already gone, but if you're not. So yes, if you're curious, you can go on Amazon and Google One Lucky Devil, and you'll see the First World War memoirs of Samson Jacob Fellow, and that's my wife's grandfather. And it's his house that we live in, the house that he and his wife bought in 1939. Yeah, almost walked into a branch. Okay, so I think from here, across the bridge, and make my way down the other side of the creek to Elphinstone. I can't really walk along College very well because it's torn up. So I'll make my way back some other route, but eventually I'll get home. So we will cross. One of the things that Sam, my wife's grandfather, was here for was the Great Cyclone in 1912, the worst tornado disaster in Canadian history. Killed 20-some people. Not him, obviously. I played the part of the mayor of the time, Mayor McCarra, for the centennial of that in 2012. There was a number of things marking it, including a reading of the names of the people who were killed with the bells ringing at Knox Metropolitan United, which was damaged in the tornado because it came right down Morin Street. Is the way I walk quite often. All right, now we'll walk down this side of the creek. Or maybe across the grass. I don't really have to stick to the creek here. That's Neil Balkwell Civic Arts Center there. Yeah, I won't keep following the creek. I'll go cut across the grass here to the end of the bridge. Not in Regina that I'm aware of. Nothing major anyway. Usually if a tornado hits Saskatchewan, it just hits empty ground because there's so much of it. So it was really bad luck in 1912 that it managed to find Regina. You can see the Elphinstone Bridge up here. Uh, yeah, there have been a few in Canada over the years in various places. Edmonton, I know for sure, had one. I seem to remember one in Ontario called Winona, Ontario. The only reason I remember that one is that my co-reporter and then second editor at the Weyburn Review when I was a newspaper reporter was from Winona. Yes, 1912. Came basically right across the lake from where the legislative building is and went up Lawrence Street. Knocked down a bunch of houses, damaged some churches, destroyed the telephone office. That's where some of the casualties were. There's some public artwork um, commemorating it. That was kind of unveiled for the centennial back in 2012 when I was portraying the mayor of the day for various things. Well, I worked up more of a sweat than I expected to. I should have come out in short sleeves. I'm always somewhat surprised on the day when the temperature is cool, how warm I get. Yeah, I could walk up to the crosswalk, but as I said, college is all blocked off, so I think I'll get a chance after this car. Here, yeah. And we're back along the creek again. Oh, that's a long one, and I'm in the sun. It's hard to read. No, they don't have those here. I'm familiar with them from growing up in Texas. We got a lot more tornado warnings than we get here in Texas. And the town had a siren like that. Also, civil defense siren. But no, they don't really do that here. However, these days, they'll send out a warning on your phone. Almost everybody has one, and even if you don't, you're probably close to somebody who does. That makes a god-awful sound, and you have to look at it. We'll go this way. In fact, one of the first times I heard it, it almost killed me because I was passing a semi on a curve at night in the winter, and this thing went off in the car. Just about made me drive off the road. Could have sued the government over that, but anything had happened, except I probably would have been dead. Nobody would ever have known. That's what killed me. However, here I am. Didn't happen. Look at this color of that sky. There's the creek. We're leaving it now. We're still in the park that goes alongside it. All part of flood control here, the dike, and then the undeveloped land. So it's both parkland and part of the flood control. Well, the dike has more to do with flood control. If it comes over the dike, kind of screwed. You really want to know this is here if you're riding along this path on a bicycle. So up there is College Avenue I've been talking about. You can see it's all closed and work going on. Water main replacement, I believe, is what it is. Oh, Another last look at the sunny park. Looking very pretty today. Yes, I think that may have been the first time I heard it, and it came at a really an opportune time from my point of view. Now I'm more used to it. Doesn't happen very often, and it's not just here. Somewhere this summer, Fredericton, Brampton, no, somewhere where that alert went off for something happening there. Okay, this is where Garnet Street splits off from Leopold Crescent. And speaking of colorful houses, there's a purple one. You can see College is completely blocked up there. The Leopold Crescent goes this way. Garnet Street goes that way. Used to live on Garnet Street, down just one block this side of the creek. When I first moved to this neighborhood in late 80s, mid 80s, sometime in the 80s. No, 90s, I should say. I moved to Regina in 88. Probably moved there in 91, 92, somewhere along in there. And then just 90. And then moved to the current house when I got married in 97. No, actually, that's not true. Moved to the current house in 2005 or 6, actually. But my wife was living in the current house with her mom. And we lived in a condo for a while, and then we exchanged with her mom so that she was all on one level as she had more trouble getting around. And we've been in the house ever since. But Alice was just starting kindergarten, so it must have been about 2006. So I guess we haven't even been in the house for 20 years yet. Renovated it though, and are still doing some work on it, and we'll probably be doing work on it until we run out of money or die. Being an old house as it is, it's kind of the way they work. Okay, here comes Angus Crescent, which I live on. Walk down the car-free side, shall we? Which crescent, though? There's 3 of them. Angus Crescent, Leopold Crescent is the big one, Angus Crescent tucked inside it, and then Connaught, which is a half crescent, because it's cut off by the schoolyard, which they now call the Crescent School, but I'll always call it Davin. Because it was Davin the whole time my daughter lived there. It's a house that once belonged to T.C. Douglas. Has an indoor swimming pool. No. Seems like a somewhat odd thing for an avowed socialist to have, but that's what it's got in it. An old one too, because the house is, probably as old as ours. This house over here is really cool too. It's built by an architect, and you can't tell it from the front, but it's sunken living room and then completely open inside. So the second floor just has a railing looking down into the living room. It's really cool. It was on one of the Davin homeschool tours years ago. My wife wanted to buy it because it was on sale, but we didn't. Not on sale, for sale. Expensive. It wasn't for sale. It wasn't on sale. Angus, yes, that's what we're on. Angus Crescent. There's an Angus Crescent, an Angus Boulevard, and an Angus Street. This is a really nice house too, which makes good use of its corner lot. Have this lovely gazebo and even a moat or a water feature, whatever they call it. Okay, we will stop up here at this corner. So, thanks for walking with me, and I will be back tomorrow, probably walking down to South Albert tomorrow. So, see you then.